So here we are, guys, at CES. That's not really CES. And why am I on the camera? Well, Eber, he told me, he's like, look, if you want to go on the camera and talk about these things that you find really, really interesting, this is the time to do it. So I'm going to give this a shot. We are actually at Dell's pre-CES press event. And what they have here is a couple of really cool concepts. And one of them is called the Alienware Ufo. And that Alienware Ufo is a portable gaming system that they're working on. It's still in prototype phase, it's not 100% final, and they just want your opinion about it right now. So let's come and check this out. Our CES trip is sponsored by bequiet, Phanteks, Razer, and Thermaltake. Without them, none of this would have been possible. So the way I think about this is a Nintendo Switch on freaking steroids. What it is, it's a full Windows PC baked into a tablet. And we're going to talk about the Switch portion of it later, where it can switch from tablet to sort of console mode. But let's look at this from a specs perspective. Right now, they're using an SoC that they're not really going to tell us what the specs are. We have some ideas, you guys can have some assumptions about it, but what they're targeting this at is 1080p to 1200p and offering 60 frames per second on a device that looks super, super slim and that actually has about 2 hours of battery life. Now that 2 hours of battery life is still TBD based on the specs and everything else. Now, what I also wanted to show you guys is how they've really focused on ergonomics. I'm gonna just pick this up and play F1 really, really quickly. And yes, there's a little bit of an RGB light show going on here, but the triggers, the buttons, everything on it, and I'm completely screwing up, but everything feels really, really good. There's little notches on the back here for your fingers. The triggers have great tactile feedback. Now, what I did, if you can see on the back here, is there's a kickstand. And it's integrated directly into the base of the unit. Once you open it up, you can just set it up like this and use it in console mode. But how do you do that? So right now, it looks like your regular Nintendo Switch, and there's two trigger buttons on the back that you simply push. You take these off, and you attach them to the controller hub. Now that controller hub doesn't need to be plugged in. Right now it is because, again, it's a prototype and it doesn't have much battery life. But you can go up and you can start playing the game. You can see it right here on the full screen. I think that's a 24-inch. And yes, there is a little bit of input lag, but it's completely playable experience. Now what Dell has done here is they've actually attached it to one of their home-built hubs, but as long as you have any type of lightning-equipped monitor, this will output directly to it, which is super convenient for anybody who just wants to set this up and go for it. Now, another thing that's really, really interesting, and I loved as a PC gamer, is the fact that you can attach a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to this if you want, or if you're using a base station, which they might release as well, you can attach a wired keyboard and mouse to it and just game like you normally would on a regular PC. It has everything you could possibly want. It has internal storage, it has Bluetooth capabilities, and they're even looking at potentially having 4G and 5G connectivity so you can really game on the go. Let's talk about connectivity, guys. To be honest with you, there really isn't much of it, even though this is supposed to be a full-blown Windows PC. Now, there's a USB-C connector on the top, which can be easily unplugged, and then you're running in full battery mode. There's also a 3.5mm jack for your headphones, and there's volume up and down rockers, and that's pretty much it. One of the most interesting benefits of this, in my opinion, is the fact that it's a Windows PC. So you don't only have to worry about it being like an Android game console that's just sitting there doing nothing when you need to be productive. Since that it has Windows 10 installed, you can use this on a monitor with a mouse and keyboard for word processing, for your homework, for all sorts of other things. Personally, I think it could be really beneficial for somebody who doesn't want to have a ton of different devices in their house. This is your one item that you can use for multiple situation. Pricing hasn't been announced yet. This is just a prototype. They want your feedback. Is this something that you would actually buy? And if you would actually buy it, what would you pay for it? That's what I want to know. And this is Mike from CES. That's not really CES. You're actually going to see Dimitri and Eber in front of the camera a little bit more because I'm freaking out a little bit right now. We have like 15 people watching us. So I'm going to sign off. That's content.